All right, welcome back to Kit and Paw Knows Everything About Mordheim, where we're now looking at the agility skills. Um, Let me just repost the link. I mean, it's back pretty quick. So these are the last of the physical abilities, or traits, or skills. I guess skills would be the word. Um, so I just said on the previous stream that I'm not a big fan of agility. It's like the least powerful of the physical traits, but when you need it, right? So it's not that it's useful. It increases now range resistance in the mod and gives you dodge 5% per level. So it's not great, and it helps with climb, like agility tests, or I can't think of the term. So you start with quick leap, trivial to train. It's free. So leap is terrible. Like you rarely leap. There's very few leap points in the game. It's usually in that attic. You leap across. So it's stupid. Doesn't matter. This could even be free. The cost is a slot. That is truly the cost. And there's just not enough uses of it. So it's just awful. I don't know. There's no way to fix it. It's kind of a dead spot. How are you going to like recode that? There's just not enough leaps. I don't know what else to say about that. It's done. The next one is swift jump. There's a lot more jump downs. And so this is very useful. I use this all the time. I was watching Added Umph play Griffin. He was here. And I watched him use 2 swift jumps on his possessed, which saved 2 SP, and he was able to run over and then miss his mighty charge. On a smuggler that should have been dead. But it took his whole warband to not kill it. It was pretty funny. I don't know how the match went, but that smuggler really lasted the entire warband. So swift jump's great. We've talked about bull charge, and I think another one now. This is one I always take. I think it's amazing, honestly, because that saved SP is really good. So it's like a kind of a different jump down. I think it's elite. If you're taking it, you're taking it. And no one cares about that because you're taking the free one. If you get a little injured, it's one jump. You're not going to keep jumping over and over. So, oh well. Like, but it's really good when you have it. Like, oh, I just got down for free. This saved me an SP. So that's really good. It's free to train. I think it's perfect though. He doesn't need to fuck with it because you don't always have active slots. But that's going to be the one I'm probably taking. It always is. I don't want to say it's like godly because I don't take it on every build. Which honestly knocks it down here. I mean, you're not taking on every build, so it's great. It's a great thing. It's free. Use it all the time on empty passives. That's really cool. Careful approach. This is like Greta's boon, basically, except you have to spend 6 skill points on it, and it doesn't drop your initiative, which is a big deal with Greta's boon. That's the consumable. So this is a much better version of Greta Boon. I've never really seen anyone take the mastery, but it's better. It is good. This is again another skill I think could be 2 for basic, 2 for mastery, because no one takes mastery, and a lot of it has to do with the expense cost. I use this a lot on my melee resist builds, because what are they weak against? Magic and range. So if you can get some of that, you're not moving anymore once you're locked in. And your OP aren't really being used to like kill anybody. So I think basic careful approach, it just has a use. I think it's this picture, yeah. I think it's good. It's not like everyone's taking it. And that one's not good just because of the cost. If it was like 2-2, I think it'd be good again. And I think there's a reason you should. Like, if someone's taking the time to invest in agility, you should have like really good range resistance. So if this was 2 to master, I think it would move up here. I think it'd move up here. And range people would be like, you fucker. Like, well, deal with it. Have more strategy. But as it is right now, I think only the basic's good. just because the 4 skill points are too much. Wall runner, we just talked about this with another skill. I think intensity, something. Um, Intensity's free, or I can't remember what we were talking about, but this is nice because it costs no strategy points to run up. Again, I don't know if you're ever going to get this one. I mean, I understand not making it free. I don't know if Easy Master is only 2. I think it is. So like 2 gets you that. But like in PvE, this is a lot better than PvP. PvE, you can shoot people from like PvP. People aren't just gonna be like, I'm gonna stand in the road, and you can climb up into that attic and just shoot me till I'm dead. You'll do that a lot. So wall runner, I think in PvE, where's this fucking ladder? I think it's okay, and this one's just like not good. Because once you've gotten unlocked the minus, that's like okay, I'm falling a few times, but if I'm in the attic, I really don't really care about my HP. If I take a few falls, I'll get up there eventually. And I think it's okay. Again, it's kind of niche. You have to want to climb and be somewhere. There are some maps where you just want to climb the wall and keep moving, but it's generally always an archer unit that's going to have this. So I think it's just kind of okay. It's a good design. There's nothing like inherently terrible about it. Then you have prowl. This comes back again to ambushes. Like ambushes aren't that great. Like if you can ambush a doorway, cool. But in PvE, it's like very dangerous. I think if like ambushing didn't lead to desyncs all the goddamn time, I think this would be a really great skill. And when I do have a dodge sidestep unit, which I usually always have melee resist ones, but if you were to have a sidestep like henchman, this is pretty good. Like my novices with my sisters consider taking this. And you can block a doorway and then have a little bit of survivability. The critting is really cool too. This comes back to that brethren, right? So I guess you could stack prowl. I didn't realize this. You could take like lurker plus that passive, which was somehow under strength, and then try to get mastery, agility, prowl. And honestly, you could just kind of really fuck up somebody. I have to look into this build. It's a dagger. This tells you how much I use it. I actually think that's pretty fucking good. I think it's good. It's just again, it's so niche, which any ambush skill was always going to be like stuck down there. Let me see. I might be sleeping on this. This might be a fucking great skill, honestly. What am I doing? And I think that's good. If it's a sidestep agility build and we're looking at agility, I think these are pretty good fucking skills. I might almost say that's great and elite. Like if I'm making a lurker, if I want to crit, this is 100% what I want. Like, and it's doing its job, and it's only 4, and it's at like a really high standard. I just haven't made this build because PvP, you just desync. In PvE, I think this is, if I was to make this build, this is 100% what I want on a Brethren, Lad's Got Talent, Lurker build with Dagger. You could just totally fuck someone up with this, I think. And then you get a dodge, so it helps your survivability. It's easy to master. Ambushes do more damage. If you could get like increased damage and then crit stun somebody, I mean, that's a fucking dream. So I think that's pretty fucking good skill. We don't see a lot of it in PvP, and I think it has to do with ambushes desyncing. That's, again, why I don't use it much. But I think these are really good. I think Prowl and Onslaught are slept on a lot. Those are really good. But again, it comes back to the ambushes. Like, I would take more Prowl and Onslaught if they didn't always just desync a PvP. Especially when you're ambushing a door. It's like fucking death. In PvE, you're going to get a lot of good use out of both of those. Sidestep, I talk about this all the time. And it still hasn't been changed. I don't know if he ever will. It's the double arrows, yeah. I think this is... it's not elite. Like, if you're a dodge build, you enter dodge. Like, if you're a dodge build, you're never going to be good. This is just the standard dodge stance. I don't know if that makes it elite or godly or... I mean, it's... Right? It's weird. It's a stance. I do think it's elite, though. Like, 2 skill points to get 2 dodges is a really good investment. And you get to this one, and it's just really bad. Like, why am I spending 4 more skill points for 1 more dodge? Uh, I would rather get other stuff. It's just bad. I I've said over and over, I think Web of Steel and Sidestep should be trivial to master. It should be 2 for the first sidestep, 2 for the next one. That's it. You want another stance? You're gonna have to pay the tax of 2 skill points. Paying 4 for 1 more? Absolute dog shit. I just don't see the point in it. Well, if you get that 1 dodge, that's 1 less hit you take. It's like, yeah, but it's not worth it. It really just isn't worth it. There's other ways to like prevent that hit from occurring, like Serenity. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways you could use these skill points to get better survivability. Or take Resilient, because if you do get hit, you're going to fucking die because you're an agility build. So I'll do the same for Mastery Web. I think it's terrible. If it was 2 and 2, totally changes everything. But it's not. So, and that's why it's a big deal sometimes what the skill points costs are. And it's 9 and 15. I mean, if you're a dodge build, you're going 15 anyway, but just getting that 9 for like a hint or someone could get basic sidesteps, not a big deal. Okay, acrobatic. We're going to use like kind of the same logic. I mean, I don't know about all this. So you can run away easier. The whole point is you're getting these unlocks. I actually don't like this one because... Okay, everyone kind of has 3, but most builds, you need to like spend all this agility to get the 5 physical back. You need to spend like 3, 5 points, and then you get it right back. It's like, well, what the fuck was the point of that? It's actually very frustrating. I was looking at builds to use that with. I'd say it's not good. And did we just crash or something? And this is just awful. I want to say it's awful. We'll say really bad. Maybe there's a character in a build I haven't thought of yet. I guess if you really want your melee resistance sidestep build to lose a passive slot, just to gain 5 toughness, which you could have just taken crit resistance. I don't know, right? I don't know. Maybe there's a use, but I think it's terrible that it's tied to agility to get these physicals back. I don't know. Put it on Cauterize or something else. Put it on a toughness skill. Like, it's really bad where it's used right now. That one drives me nuts, in fact. Athletic Expert helps you. Again, I'd rather take other skills, I think, but that's okay. It's free. What does this one look like? Like a fucking lifesaver? Preserver? It's okay. This is probably just really bad. I don't even know, kind of, yeah, it's easy to master. It takes 2, but I could see a build that maybe wants to climb guaranteed, but it can spend the slot. I can't think of many of them, honestly, though. All these things that help with climbing aren't that great. Ambuscade, this is that hit chance one for ambushes now. I think it's important with that lurker build, right? Otherwise, it's not amazing. I mean, it does its job. It's hard to call anything that does its job lower than okay. Maybe that 20%'s enough, so maybe they're just both okay. And it doesn't cost that much more to train it. So I think they're just kind of both okay. Do you want to really guarantee the hit or just want a little bit more chance to hit? Quick draw. Reduce the cost of switch weapons. This one's an interesting one. Like, I wish the mastery just made it free to switch weapons, but there's still that strategy point. So the first one makes it where it only costs 1 OP. The second one makes it where it only costs 1 strategy point. It's easier to master. The problem is it's a passive and it takes like 12 agility, right? What builds are like switching weapons at 12 agility? It's really hard to get the mastery one. It's kind of hard to get the basic even, let's be honest. So you don't see it too much. The mercs, I guess, have a thing that could maybe synergize with it. But it's kind of niche. I would just say this one's bad because of the cost. Like, what build has 12 agility and wants to switch weapons for 1 SP? I can't think of that build. Like, it's very absurd. The other one's okay, but you're still losing to OP. I just think both are not that good. I wish they could be good. Like, I think the punishment alone is taking the passive slot. So if it's like free to train, easy to master, but then it might become like the gold standard at free to train, right? I don't know. But you still need to have that passive slot. And you're still using the OP, which is pretty rough. So, I don't know. I think it should be 0 and then maybe keep it at the 2. But they're still just not that good. Avoid's been buffed from vanilla. I know that. I think basics not good. I think it needs to be more than 15, to be honest. I'd almost say it's bad. It's the equivalent of 3 agility. A chess piece gives you 4. So I can gain 20% with just a chess piece. If you're already at like the agility requirement, if you're an agility build, you probably already have really good kind of dodge anyway. And I think the mastery is bad also. The skill points involved are just a lot. Because it's easy to break stances in other ways. It's like really hard to ask to have 6 skill points to like really super guarantee the dodge. I think I just fought someone who had 150 dodge. What is it, Doomweaver? It still didn't matter, right? Still killed him with a Daredevil unit. Like, so if that's like your standard right there, did it take a few extra swings? It did. It did. But like it still died. So did it really do much at the end of the day? And it's like maybe there's other things I could have taken instead of 6 skill points into this. I would say I think I'm a little harsh on it. I think it's not good and this is just bad. Just the skill point cost is really rough. Because if you've invested 15 agility, you're already at a significant agility level. Again, like it's diminishing returns at that point. Like 120 was plenty. You didn't need 165, right? Like it's okay. So I think that starts to become the problem. Counterblow, man, this is a skill I love and hate. I've used it a lot in PvE. I want it to work. The problem with it is a lot of units just don't hit you. Like you have good, if you're like this kind of build, you're not that hard. You're hard to hit because you have kind of decent melee resistance. So the AI swings at you and they miss, and they do something stupid like they don't get off a lot of swings, and you don't get the dodge, and you're like, oh fuck, they just missed. I can't counterattack and crit you. When it does happen though, you're like, okay, that was juicy. You get the first one, you like, ska, crit stun, lay the fuck down. Your turn's over. My whole warband's gonna act, and you're gonna get murdered. Like that's really good. The second problem is once someone knows you have that in PvP, they go, oh shit, that has a counter blow on it. Everybody knows it, and you just stop attacking into the unit. You go, well, you have counter blow, so you attack me, and then I'll just hit you back. It's the same thing with like Web of Steel, Parry Captain. That said, you could then be like, well, I'm winning because you're not attacking, and that was your best unit, right? So it's this whole like this tit for tat. So I think it was 10 and 30. Maybe he nerfed it. I feel like 10 and 30 would be great again. It can almost be 20 and 30. This is a 9-15 skill, guys. So it needs to be like really good. And it has to be on a dodge, which is very limiting. So if that's the case, this should be like 10 and 30 and be well worth it. So I like the skill. I think it's been redesigned pretty well. Like my novices, I think it's something I'll take. And so I think it's good. And I think this one's good too. It's basically like the adult version. I think they could be great to elite if you do those little tweaks, 20, 30 maybe. Then you see a dodge henchman, you're like, oh, fuck. I don't want to attack this thing. But maybe that's too good, right? So 10, maybe 15. Maybe the 10's okay. 10, 15 for basic. But I think the mastery has to be 30. Because, again, a lot of times your opponent will miss or just not attack you. And then you have to, like, not use your OP, right? So it blocks you from having any special attacks, which is also very annoying too. So I have novices. They use Righteous Fury. They have Armor Break. How am I also supposed to counterblow, right? So you could do like, well, one attack you use your Armor Break. Well, they're probably in a stance too, so, right? So it's just awkward overall in general. I really like the redesign. It used to be in vanilla you just had increased hit chance after a like that's fucking dumb. Increased crit chance after a dodge though. Okay, that's kind of cute. Very much useful on, again, a novice, and it's something my novices might consider. It's funny, I was thinking about how do I add more passives to this unit, and I'm just remembering this exists. And you give them Midas Sigmar and Sigmarite hammers. They can be, like, nothing worse than getting crit stunned by a fucking henchman you're trying to kill. It's literally like match breaking. So if we look at this, like, sidestep, it's elite in a sense, but not that elite. Like if you're making a dodge build, yeah, of course you're taking sidestep. But it's just like like if you're taking it all the time on those builds. So yeah, I guess it is elite, right? So why wouldn't you? Again, I the more I read this, the more I'm like, holy shit, this is actually kind of really good. I think it gets lost in PvP, but having a crit ambush, especially with like a brethren, Jesus Christ. You know, and then the perfect 2-2 to train, like that's a good skill. It's doing its niche perfectly and whatnot. Free jump downs is great. You know, some crits are great. Careful approach. Not getting shot with ranged. I wish this would be 2-2 and it would jump up. A lot of these mobility ones, it's hard, right? It is hard. I think they're functional. Even if you're like down here, doesn't mean you weren't. Like this one's annoying as hell. Like why do I have to get 9 agility to get 5 physical? There's like 2 units start with like that. Like Assassin Adept has 8 agility, maybe even 9. Oh, okay, that's the one unit. So is this literally just for the Assassin Adept? And even then he hits a wall. You can't get like 15 and 12 or 15. It's like just so frustrating. It's a frustrating skill. So agility, again, it's not surprising to see something like this. It's not my favorite, but when you build it, it's fine. It works. So yeah. Oh, these are exhausting. No wonder Mork. I think Mork's going to be doing some shortly. I think we'll take a break at the physicals. It's like 60 fucking degrees and sunny today. Just a tease of the end of winter. So I hope you guys have a good weekend, and we'll do some more of these. They're fun to do, and you can let me know on Discord if I'm an idiot or disagree or boy is he wrong. I think Paranoia appreciates the feedback. I give this kind of feedback all the time on Discord, but it's nice to have like a video reference for him maybe, and I'll put him on my YouTube channel. So thanks for watching, and you guys have a nice weekend.